Have you ever looked up at the night sky and wondered what would happen if the moon suddenly split in two? At first, it sounds like the setup to a disaster movie, cities collapsing, tides going haywire, humanity facing an imminent apocalypse. But surprisingly, if things went just right, the outcome might be far more beautiful than terrifying. Imagine two baby moons hovering above the Earth, each reflecting the sun's light, dancing gracefully across the sky, as if performing a cosmic ballet, just for us. Let's start at the very beginning. Splitting the moon in half is no small feat. It would take an unimaginable amount of energy, far beyond anything humanity has ever produced. The largest nuclear device ever detonated, the Tsar Bomba, packed a punch equivalent to 50 million tons of TNT. To fracture the moon, we would need about 30 billion of these combined. Clearly, this isn't something we could achieve casually. So, let's take a step into the realm of imagination and assume the moon just cracks. Half of its mass rests on one side, half on the other. If the halves stayed together, they'd quickly crash back into each other, leaving nothing particularly interesting. But if we nudge them apart, say by 10,000 kilometers, a more fascinating scenario unfolds. Gravity begins its subtle work, pulling and pushing, and the two moons start orbiting each other while circling the Earth. Initially, the motion is chaotic, elliptical, and slightly wobbly, but over a month, the pair finds a rhythm. From Earth, the night sky would now feature two moons performing a slow, mesmerizing dance, their positions changing in ways that would make astronomers double-check their calculations. One of the first questions most people ask is, what happens to eclipses? We're lucky. The moon and sun appear roughly the same size from our perspective, allowing for perfect total solar eclipses. But with two smaller moons, the sun would never be completely obscured. Each eclipse would leave a sliver of sunlight peeking around the edges, producing a surreal twilight on Earth. Occasionally, the twin moons might align just right, chasing each other across the solar disk, creating eclipses unlike anything we've ever seen, a spectacle both rare and breathtaking. The tides, surprisingly, wouldn't go haywire. The gravitational pull of the two moons combined would mimic that of the original moon, so high and low tides would remain largely familiar. There might be occasional anomalies, slightly higher tides, when the orbits align perfectly, but nothing catastrophic. Nature would adapt, and life would continue. With a subtle difference, nights of full moons would shine about 30% brighter. Shadows on the ground would double, sometimes overlapping, producing a strange, otherworldly landscape after dark. Now, let's imagine the unlikely scenario where the orbits of the baby moons decay. Slowly, one or both moons spiral closer to Earth, approaching the Roche limit, the invisible boundary, beyond which gravity tears celestial bodies apart. If that happens, the halves would be shredded, forming a delicate ring system, glowing faintly against the night sky. Those rings could arch across the horizon, brighter than any Milky Way arm, turning our nights into a canvas of cosmic art. Sailors, astronomers, and dreamers alike would be awestruck. Satellites might have to navigate carefully, but the view would be unforgettable. Throughout all this, humanity would be reminded of how small we are in the vast expanse of space. Lunar eclipses would take on new forms, shadowing one moon or the other, sometimes both, in a shifting dance of light and darkness. The sky would feel alive, constantly changing, a celestial theater where physics and imagination collide. For geologists, historians, and amateur stargazers, it would become a world full of new phenomena to study and marvel at. And yet, even in this surreal scenario, life on Earth might continue, much as before. People would still go to work, birds would still sing at dawn, and children would still play in the parks. But at night, the moon, no longer singular, would remind us of possibilities. We rarely consider. It would ask questions, without expecting answers. What if? What if our assumptions about nature aren't complete? What if beauty can emerge from the cataclysm? The split moon, whether a temporary spectacle or a lasting addition to our sky, would inspire wonder, creativity, and perhaps a newfound humility about our place in the universe. So, would you prefer the familiar solitary moon, glowing quietly in the night, or a pair of luminous siblings, twirling and spinning in endless celestial choreography? One thing is certain: if the moon ever split in two, it would make us look up, gaze in awe, and imagine worlds we've never dared to dream before.